Hey there, Father Michael here. So I look around and I hear stories and I see behaviors and I see underlying doubts and lack of confidence and self-esteem and mostly a lack of faith and hope in young people. And I listen to their stories several days a week. How they started using drugs when they were in middle school, most of them 11, 12 years old. How they started drinking in middle school. How they basically missed their entire growing up period in middle school and high school, all of their adolescent growing years. Basically, they were numb. And so they missed the emotional growth, really, and the lessons that they might otherwise have learned, but the drugs and the alcohol got in the way. I've also been to a fair number of funerals for these 20-somethings, and I oftentimes meet their children because many of them are also young parents. I meet the kids of the kids, in other words, who are now motherless or fatherless, and they're going to be raised by people other than their parents. And I gotta say, some days my head is just spinning, wondering how all of this is going to end. We have, on the one hand, those millennials. They're not good parents, generally speaking. I'm sorry if you're a millennial watching this, but your group is a hot mess. Those millennials are the least academically prepared generation in American history. They have the lowest test scores in math and English and science. They have the least familiarity and competence in understanding history and politics in general, and most alarming, the least amount of understanding about our American form of government. So it is no wonder then that we have all of this nonsense and BS, on YouTube and other social media sources, QAnon, all of that fictional conspiracy theory BS. They're susceptible to believing anything they see because they don't have rational skills built up over the years where they can evaluate the truth claims that they hear. But the worst of it, I think, is the lack of religion and the lack of commitment to anything bigger than themselves. They don't go to church. I hear this all the time. I don't believe in organized religion. That's an excuse. That's just an excuse. So they don't go. Unless, of course, it's time to get married, and then they're going to try and find some kind of a nice theatrical backdrop for a marriage that's going to last at the best 6.5 years, statistically. So then they're all about the church for that big day. But otherwise, their own convenience is really driving their lives. And we are reaping the fruits of that. To be sure, it's not just millennials. But that group is particularly disturbing because those are the parents of the people in school right now, the kids in school. So where are the role models coming from is what's on my mind and heart today. Where are the role models for this upcoming generation? That lack of strong role models is going to have a huge impact on this generation and on the next. And I think we have inadvertently set ourselves up for disaster. My own life, by contrast, was very different. It was full of strong role models all the way through, primarily women role models who are, let's face it, a lot stronger than us men. If you've ever seen childbirth, you know what I'm talking about. I remember saying to my little brother when he asked me what it was like to watch a baby being born, and I said to him, I wouldn't do that for anybody. So, women clearly love their men more than men love their women, just saying. So, my life was full of strong women role models. They weren't afraid to go to church and to learn. My own mother, for example, married the wrong guy, had 6 children with the wrong guy, and became essentially a single parent, even though, they lived together, but he wasn't really involved in much of anything positive. Probably should have left. If she'd come to me for marital counseling as her priest, I would have told her to get out. No question. But it is what it is. My whole life, I observed my mother working from the time she got up until the time she went to bed, cooking and cleaning and doing laundry and ironing when ironing was a thing, as well as teaching every single one of us, boys included, to keep our own house, to know how to do laundry, cook, iron, to become self-sufficient so that we would not ever have to be dependent on anyone, and we could be grown up adults and take care of ourselves. I value that every single day. And in addition to all of that work that she was doing, she took us to church every single Sunday and Holy Day, the whole bunch of us. And she never had the excuse, oh, I'm too tired today. Oh, I need Sundays to sleep in. Oh, I don't know about organized religion. None of that nonsense. She taught us our prayers, particularly the rosary, which was important to her. She died clutching her rosary. And thanks to her example, the rosary is an important part of my own prayer life. She was not a perfect mother. I'm not saying that she was. But I can never repay her for the structure and the discipline that she created in my life. My great-grandmother, Wilhelmina, worked every job she could to support herself after her husband died unexpectedly young. And when the Great Depression came in the 1930s, and her own daughter was abandoned by her husband, that would have been my grandparents, with her 3 kids, Wilhelmina took in her daughter with the 3 kids and did odd jobs, mending, making clothes for other people. All of them were on the brink of homelessness, and yet Wilhelmina took them in anyway, and cooked and baked and made soap in a big old iron cauldron in the backyard, and rendered her own pork fat to make lard, and still found time to gather the family around her skirts to learn their prayers, to pray the 23rd Psalm in particular, which was a great comfort to her in time of doubt and fear. And then to walk the whole lot of them down the street to the Congregational Church on the corner. And when she died of cancer, the family knew that she had left them a rich inheritance, not of money or material things, but an inheritance of vision, a way of looking at the world a way of trusting in God that would be part of all of their lives forever. My grandmother Pearl, the one with whom I connected on a deep level from the earliest days of my life, and to whom I would fly for comfort every summer as a kid growing up. She taught me the value of going to weekly Mass, but also to follow that up with volunteerism and service to other people. She learned early in her life to always make extra food and to leave it outside for what was then called the hobos, meaning homeless people who would jump the trains and move from town to town looking for any kind of work that they could do to survive another day. This was during the 20s and 30s. A lot of homelessness, particularly with those World War I veterans who were essentially abandoned. That's a piece of history we don't teach in school. She was at the forefront many years later in the 1970s of welcoming the Vietnamese and Hmong communities to that part of the world in which she lived in the aftermath of the Vietnam War debacle. She told me stories of her own faith journey, how she had been kind of a casual evangelical Lutheran who only went to church on Sundays if she had a new hat to wear, to becoming a very different person because she met my grandfather and she admired his discipline and his faithfulness. And his example, his stories, inspired her to become more than she ever thought she would become in this world. And when she died, the priest at her funeral said, "This was a patriarch of this diocese." She would have been blown away by that. All of those people, all of their stories have left a really deep impression on my soul from my earliest days right down to today, this moment. They inspire me still in my own faith journey as an old Catholic priest. Their stories still bring life to me, still inform my heart and my mind. And they changed the trajectory of my life. They are still changing my life. And despite everything, despite financial hardships and challenges, death, tragedy, drug addiction, recovery, all of it, I'm still standing. I'm still just trying to do the next right thing, still going to church every Sunday and Holy Day, because that is the classroom in which I continue to study and to learn my lessons. The cornerstone of my faith in God was laid by strong women, mostly women who loved life, who sang and danced and cooked and celebrated their life every damn day, even in the midst of their tears. And it's the going to church that sustained them and fed them in every circumstance. It's what sustains me as well. Whatever the future holds for our young people, it can be made more secure and brighter by taking them to church, by making them become part of a faith community that will accept them as they are without judgment, that will support them, that will challenge them as well to be a little bit better today, to be more and to do more. As it says, in Proverbs 22, verse 6, start children off on the way they should go, And when they are old and crusty, they will not depart from that way. That's the Father Michael translation, but you get the idea. I know for myself that because of my own family, because of my family history, because of those strong women, because of that habit started early of going to church every Sunday and of being schooled in the community of faith, I have survived some crazy stuff. And I remain on a steady path leading back to the heart of God from where I came. That is true for every single one of us. So today, a simple thought. Be part of a faith community. Find a safe place. Take your kids. I don't know any other way out of the current darkness. We're losing 6 to 8 20-somethings every single day in Indiana to overdose. Let that sink in for a minute. And let's find a way to do this differently. Pray with me. Loving God, we come into your divine, sheltering presence in this moment. Grateful for the gift of those who came before us, who have shared their stories of faith with us, who have inspired us, who have taught us to perceive your presence even in the dark times. Help us today to listen more attentively to the call of your inner voice. Help us to be a little more willing to set aside convenience in service of something bigger than ourselves. And in a special way, lay your healing hand on all those young people struggling with drugs and alcohol. Help those with faith and hope in the future to find ways to touch their hearts so that we might stop losing them and start celebrating together. We ask all this in the name of our brother and teacher, Jesus the Christ, the one who is, who was, and who will come again.